As we come into this Thursday of the Passion Week, it was very interesting to me that my daily devotions this morning brought me to Matthew 26. Matthew 26 tells the story of what happened that evening on that Thursday night many years ago. I want to share with you two lessons that Jesus left us that evening in your morning cup of inspiration. Thanks for joining me. If you'll recall, he was with his disciples in the upper room, and he knew he was going to be crucified the next day. So what he had to share, had to be of utmost importance. And what does he do? He teaches the lesson on being a servant. He washed the disciples' feet as an incredible example of the humility and the servitude that we should have as Christians, just like he did. Then he went to the Mount of Olives and over to the Garden of Gethsemane, and he took his disciples with him. He asked them to pray. He went further into the garden to pray, and he was in deep anguish. He was human like we are. I have to believe there was some fear in Jesus that night. You may have some fear in you right now with the quarantine and the virus and everything that's going on in the economy. All these things can bring us fear. I believe Jesus had some fear as well. He'd seen floggings. He knew exactly what he was going to have to go through. He'd seen crucifixions. He'd seen the pain and the suffering that these people went through, and he knew he was about to do the same thing. But it did not stop him from fulfilling his call. I believe he may have been lonely. He was there praying by himself. Every time he'd go back, the disciples were sleeping. It was like they didn't really seem to care or get it, and they were his closest friends. You may be lonely today. You may need to do what Jesus did. Not rely on other people, but go straight to your Father. Pour your heart out to your Father. And lastly, he may have felt somewhat like a failure. He had 12 disciples he was speaking into their lives. One betrayed him, one denied him, and everybody ran. But that did not stop Jesus from fulfilling what I think is the second lesson when he prayed, "Lord, not my will, but thine be done." Our goal is to do God's will, not to look at the circumstances we see around us, not to let fear stop us from moving forward, even though it might be tough, not let loneliness stop us, not let failure stop us, but allow God's will to be done in every circumstance. So I encourage you today, as we go through this Easter season, that you would be the servant God wants you to be, and that you would seek to fulfill God's will for your life today. God bless. Thanks for joining me for that morning cup of inspiration, and we'll see you next time.